All right, perfect. Okay, so we'll get started. Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of My Jungle Rules. We're here today with Landon and Brandon Aydlett, Guam's wonder twins when it comes to the weather. But they've also become known for their record-breaking project known as Tower for Humanity. It started in June 2022 with their Lincoln Log replica of Chicago's Willis Tower, which set a double Guinness World Record for the tallest tower and most blocks used. So, just starting with that history, can you just give us like a brief sort of synopsis of when and how the project got started?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
it
Lincoln Logs. Go ahead, Brendan.
okay.
Take turns.
It happens on occasion.
Yeah, yeah.
It started with a vision. So we're in the COVID years, and there's just a lot of down, depressing news, and so we started with a vision. Let's let's do what people for many years have told us we should have pursued a long time ago, was a Guinness World Record, and so we'd always been fond with working with the Lincoln Logs, building taller and larger structures. A local store here one year started selling like a generic block and around Christmas time. So we would get a couple of cases here and there. And that really lit that spark to pursue that vision. And so we ran some numbers, what we wanted to do. We looked at the Willis Tower, Chicago's formerly known the Sears Tower in Chicago, easily replicatable tower with Lincoln Logs. And we did some number crunching, decided what we needed to uh, procure, and through working with the actual manufacturer. So we got this big pile of blocks that we're sitting on, and just started put our team together, which now we are known as the Tower for Humanity team. So it's a close group of very close friends and family, and so we are the collective effort that puts this all together. When we approached that Guinness attempt, we didn't want to do it just about a tower, but we wanted to somehow incorporate the community. And so that was the very successful test case of involving the community in this type of big event. Afterwards, we've got all these blocks. What the heck do we do with them? Can't just sit on them. That's where the Tower for Humanity really started with a solid run, and now here we are with our seventh project coming straight ahead in the next month and a half.
So I guess I'll go ahead and direct questions to one of you so that we can go back and forth. Landon, this one's for you. How do you select the towers that you're going to use for the projects? I saw you were last in Kuala Lumpur, and I thought, oh, that's the next tower, but it's not, is it?
Yeah, that's one I'm definitely thinking about, especially if Guam can work up some kind of a travel and tourism deal with Malaysia. I know there is some efforts from Guam Visitor Bureau to engage the Malaysia tourist market. If that does happen, I think we'll probably do the Petronas Towers in another year or two. But yeah, really the tower are we select them based off of interest, our favorite tower, something that's link loggable. And of course, when I say link loggable, you have to think that we can only build with right angles, so 90-degree angles because of the nature of these blocks. And so rounded structures, triangular structures are very difficult, if not impossible. So it needs to have those right angles. So Sears Tower, the Willis Tower in 2022 was easy. The Empire State Building, that's one of my all-time favorite towers in the history of the world. And so that was a dream to do that one, but it was very tricky because, yeah, that one, it has all those tapers with height. And so getting those
Yeah.
tapers just right, as well as scaling it down to the height of the ceiling that we were working with, it was tricky. And so we have to get some custom made blocks. And so I found a guy in Minnesota who makes toy logs compatible to Lincoln logs and the tumble tree timber logs that we have. And I asked him if he could make certain logs with these features. And he said, yeah, I can try that. And that makes us able to do so many other tricks, including the Empire State Building there, because we have these very distinct tapers that we want to replicate. The one Za'abeel, I came across that several years ago. I saw it on the architecture page on social media, and they announced this new building in Dubai, and it was going to have the Guinness World Record for the longest cantilever building. And I thought that would be Lincoln loggable because it's all right angles. we could do it, but it's going to be very challenging because it's got that cantilever. It's basically balancing between the two towers. That's called the link, that horizontal structure. And so I really wanted that one just for the challenge of it.
Mhm.
And the mindset is they've done it in real life. We can do it with Linka logs. We'll have to figure out how. So we think we have a plan that's going to work. We did a test build in my house a couple of weeks ago. Ran out of time, but I think I got what I need to make it work. And then I'll be blotting it out on paper, running out blueprints and grid structures for building patterns, and then running it against the inventory. And so I think we have the inventory, but we're going to have to see where we need to sacrifice some logs in the higher part of the structure, but not without sacrificing the structural integrity, because of course we get earthquakes here. So it's
Right.
all about the fun, challenge, and what's possible.
Right, right. Now, do you guys run, the specs against engineers or other people who have that kind of background, or are you just winging it?
Traditionally, we do not. But when we were planning out our first tower with the Guinness World Record, one of our friends that was on the team that was helping us organize things, she had a civil engineering friend who came to visit from the States. And so we met and had coffee for a couple hours, and I showed him the plans and how I plan to structure the building style. And as with most skyscrapers, you have that central core that carries the bulk of the weight and the stability. And so we wanted to mimic that. Initially, our plans did not account for that. But when we had some new intel coming from the States about another Guinness World Record attempt with Linka logs, we knew we had to go bigger and taller, and we didn't have time to do another test build. And so after having a test tower stand 17 feet tall on my stairway for 2 weeks, you notice some of the small blocks are starting to twist and contort, and the weight was bearing down through some of those columns. And the concern was if there's any kind of a vibration or a jolt, they could probably pluck out. And if you have too many of those, it would have to collapse. So we wanted some weight bearing columns. And so we modified the plans, and the civil engineer took a look. He's like, I have no complaints. I think this is a very strong design, and you could probably feasibly go much taller with it. And so that's where we're going to bank on with this tower. And then also our plans for next year as we seek to break our world records.
Yeah, and I would add on to that that in some cases we do have test builds, smaller test builds. So with the Taipei 101, we did do a couple of test builds. We did two side by sides, about 2 feet tall or so. We took different approaches to building and structuring the main core, and then we just all the full group of us, we just shook the table as violently as we could and tried to determine which structure was the strongest, and then that's one that we tried to mimic. But one of the other things that we see with the blocks is uh, each block is quite close in dimension, but every so often, and I don't know if you can see it very well, but every so often there might be a very small discrepancy where they're uneven, just slightly, very small. But as you compound that with inch after inch, 1 foot after another foot of building, you start getting more unevenness, discontinuity on a level platform. And so every so often, and you see in both of those towers to either side of you, you see those layers of the lighter colored blocks. Every foot, 2 feet or so, we do these layers where we make sure everything is perfectly level. We're taking different steps to either skip some of the columns of smaller blocks and just use a larger block to bridge across, but trying to do everything we can to ensure it is perfectly level after every foot or two. And that way we maintain that stability going higher up. And as Landon said, the blocks some of those columns become weight bearing. So where you have one column that might be a fraction of a millimeter taller than the next column, that's going to be the weight bearing. The other one is still pretty loose. You can move it around. And it's remarkable how strong these blocks are, how much weight that they can bear, and they do not break. And even when we've collapsed our towers in the past, a few blocks will break. There's some impacts we try to minimize with boxes and blankets on the floor just to protect the fall and the floor.
You gave us a little teaser there. You said next year you're going to be trying to break records. In subsequent years since you started, you have built, taller structures with more logs than that 2022 build. But you never went for the world record again. Why did you stop, and why are you going to go for it again next year?
Yeah, the Guinness World Record, that's a very long, complicated administrative process. And so there's a lot of regulations and rules that you have to abide to, and it takes a lot of planning and coordination. And so realistically, from start to finish, the world record run in 2022 was about 18-month process.
Mm.
And so it was very long, very drawn out, a lot of planning and coordinating, and a lot of people to bring in on as far as volunteers are concerned. We're going to get that process underway. We're aiming for May. And so we plan to break a new height and a size record for number of blocks and height. I've already got plans in the works for that tower. It's going to be based off of a tower in Saigon, Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, a brand new tower there. And so we're going to be rolling out those plans very soon, but we're going to use this event in September and October to hopefully solicit people that want to volunteer to be a part of our project, because while we can't have people help us build that structure for a number of regulations,
Right.
We will need an army of volunteers to serve as witnesses, because if we're not going to have Guinness World Record officials here on site, which will be very expensive, we're going to have to need a core of volunteers that will witness and write down statements and testimony, and also keep track of numbers and logs as we build. And so that's going to be probably a 2-week process every day for 2 weeks. And so the more people we have involved, the better. We're going to try to incentivize the volunteers to be a part of it for multiple cycles of volunteers, 2-hour cycles. And people who serve multiple cycles will probably get a gift from us of some degree.
Ooh, a log with their name on it.
Even better than that.
Okay, I'd be satisfied with that. So, in combination, you referred to it earlier, in combination with this, it's a totally fun project that really brings not just locals to it, but tourists. It's an attraction. But the other amazing component of the project is how you combine it with a charitable organization that benefits from the work that you're doing. Can you tell me what this latest one is? What you're calling Construction Guam, which this is the first time I've heard of it. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, I was in Kansas City at the Weather Service Training Center back in 2023, I think it was. And it was around March, April. And so for April Fool's Day, I took a picture of myself at the training center at the Central Region headquarters and said, yeah, I just got selected as Deputy Director of the Weather Service Central Region. So a lot of people commented, and a former senator here on Guam sent her apologies to Guam that I was leaving the island, but also congratulated me and said, I want you to meet my sister, who's from Guam but lives in Kansas City, and she runs a food drive charity focused on kids in need on Guam. And so I said, okay, let me go meet her. I said, by the way, this is April Fool's. I'm not leaving Guam. But I met with her sister and Lori with Be Heartfelt, and she said that she runs a charity serving kids in need. And there's so much need here on Guam with so many kids just not getting the food they need on the weekend. So their only source for food is when they are in school. They get those breakfast and lunches provided there at the school, and then they go home, probably no dinner. Over the weekends, no meals on the weekend. And so this need is so significant that it was even new to me. I was not aware of such a dire problem. So she said she really needed help in getting more food and sustainable food coming into the charity so that they can sustain serving the number of kids they had at the time. It wasn't too many, but it was a lot of meals over the course of a year. I said, well, we have a project. We have a venue requesting another project after we broke 2 Guinness World Records the previous year. And one of our rules for a venue that requests a tower project is we have to be allowed to work with a charity and benefit and rally for that charity. And so I said, if you're interested, we can do a charity event for you, doing the sponsor log and bring awareness to your cause, your mission, and the kids in need. And I brought up to her the food drive effort. I just saw it on local news in Kansas City one morning eating breakfast, and I saw that all these organizations had canned food structures and stuff for a food drive event. I said, why don't we take something like that, do it on Guam since nobody's doing it yet, and we can call it Construction, a canned food construction. And she said, I like that idea. And so this will be our 3rd year. This is going to be our signature event. We try to do it every September, October to get the schools involved, especially before the holidays. Our first year we had 5 teams and we collected 5,500 cans of food. Our second year we had 12 teams and collected 17,000 cans of food. And so this year I'm setting a goal of 20 teams, and we hope to get 25,000 cans of food, which is a significant increase from last year, and it's more than the last 2 years combined. But think about this. The charity now serves 350 kids because of the Tower for Humanity efforts. They've been able to boost their number of kids served, plus expand to Saipan and to Palau, but it's also the sustainability. So 350 kids, if you have one can of food, one weekend of the year for 350 kids, I think that comes out to 18,000 cans of food. But then you have one can of food on Saturday, one can of food on Sunday for 350 kids. That's 36,000 cans of food. Mm-hmm. Not to mention the snacks and the drinks that also round out those meals that's provided on the weekend. So 25,000 cans is a very small part of sustaining this program to feed 350 kids. And that's not even representing all the public schools in Guam. Lori's goal is to eventually reach out to all the public schools so that kids in all the schools can be supported through this effort.
Brandon, can you tell folks exactly how they can contribute then? If obviously the people on Guam, but then are there ways that people off island can contribute to this cause and to the Tower for Humanity?
Absolutely. And so that's one of the fun parts with these tower projects. So once we set up at the location, whichever the malls here on Guam, there's a couple different ways. We will have people with Be Heartfelt, and of course, any charity that we partnered with in future projects. People with the charity will be on hand to accept donations. We as a tower team, we will take the food donations, but we will give everything to the charity. So we're not a recipient and of the donations, but we will kind of facilitate getting that to the charity. So for this upcoming project, we will have several food collection sites set up around Guam as different organizations volunteer. Construction teams can also begin, if you haven't already, if you're thinking about making a team, can start collecting food within your organization, school groups and stuff. But also, those towers, those white blocks, those layered of light-colored blocks, we use those as sponsor blocks. Lena just mentioned a sponsor a block. And the way that works is based on different length block, a monetary donation or even a canned food donation of a certain number of cans will get you a certain size block that you can then personalize. So we will have tons of markers on site so you can really work on your artistry. And there have been some really incredible artwork jobs done on some of the blocks in the past. You personalize it, put your name, put your family members, whatever, and then it becomes part of the tower and future projects. So that is one of the really neat legacies that really showcases the charitability of the people of Guam, helping others in need. And so as we go into Tower Project number 7 next month, Tower Project number 8 in the future, and so on, more of those blocks are personalized, they are colored, they show that legacy of Guam. And so that has been really one of the most amazing parts of these projects. I was initially almost shocked with the idea of coloring, painting, putting marker on the blocks, but it has become such a neat sign, a symbol of the generosity of Guam. So 2 ways to donate, especially for this upcoming project, is sponsor a block and then canned food drive through construction. Whether you have a team or not, you can still collect, you can still donate. And so that information will be on our Facebook page, Tower for Humanity, and then also with Be Heartfelt in the coming days and weeks. So look for more information in that regard.
Awesome.
And we definitely want as many teams as possible. We're going to be providing prizes or awards to the winning teams on 3 different categories. But we're going to separate into 2 competitions, school groups and schools versus businesses and organizations. And so that way, more people can get prizes and awards. And so we really hope to have a lot of people join. Cost You Less Guam has been an outstanding contributor to these efforts. They have been strong supporters of these competitions for all of our years so far, and they've been tremendous throughout the year sustaining the meal pack program. So thank you to Cost You Less and also the many other organizations.
Now, is there a way for people like me off island to donate or contribute or get one of those blocks?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have team members that will mark up the blocks for you. Just send us an email what you want on the block. You can also reach out to Lori at B. Hartfelt. And so after this interview, I'm going to send you the Google form link for organizations to sign up as a construction team or a job site. And then also the B. Hartfelt webpage. There are PayPal options that you can pay from overseas. And actually, we just got a donation from a 7-year old kid from Iowa.
Oh
He's
my,
been a follower of these projects since hearing about it several years ago. He had a lemonade stand through the summer
oh my,
and sending a large fraction of his proceeds to the B. Hartfelt charity. And
oh
so
my
we're going to be
gosh.
getting that check in the mail for Lori very soon. And we're going to, I think they got a large check drawn up. We're going to put that on our tower site, but from Iowa. And so we have donations coming from all over the place. We had donations from Taiwan last year for our Taipei 101 project. People saw it in the news over there in Taipei. And so the help and the support comes from near and far. It's just really validates these projects. It's a rallying cry to the community.
Have you asked the Dubai Tower, that tower in Dubai?
Well, we
It's
definitely we never asked the
right,
towers that we built. We never asked them for support, but we
right.
encouraged them to be a part of our projects in whatever way they want to be,
Yeah.
because we really want to demonstrate the tower, the architecture of whatever we build. But we leave it up to them if they want to be a part of it in any other way. And so uh, we would definitely welcome that.
Okay. Putting it out to the universe. There you go.
Yeah,
I will have all that information that you provided in the press release and then the links that you give to me. Really excited. We have a lot of our audience is off island, who have very strong links, obviously, to Guam. And so, they may be very interested in supporting this from afar. Was there anything else you guys wanted to let folks know about before we head out?
Yeah.
yeah, definitely follow us on social media, and I'll send you those links accordingly. But follow us on social media, Tower for Humanity. We're going to have a lot of information, photos, and videos. But we welcome people near and far to get involved. Every little bit of support really helps, and a lot of us are in good shape financially and economically, but others they are suffering the worst times of life, and so every little bit of help can really improve their disposition.
And I
Brandon.
want to just add on, it's like you look at all these blocks and how small they are, but when you put them all together, you get some incredible things. And so generosity and charitable giving works the same way. So our projects, we partner up with one, two, or three charities, but there's lots of charities doing a lot of good work. And so whether you're near or far, uh, we like for this to be a reminder that each of us can still help out in whatever way, whether it's time. If you don't have anything to give, you can still give a little bit of time. And so if everybody does a little bit, then a lot can be accomplished pretty easily.
Sorry, just to build on that, are you saying that people can help build the tower?
In this case, there is
Okay.
that opportunity. So
Okay.
that is doable. So both metaphorically and
Okay.
realistically. Um, we do have like about 70,000 of these small blocks, and that's what really takes forever. So in the first week of our build, we will have a lot of these available. And so we are opening the doors. If anybody has a little bit of time, definitely come in, feel free to be a part of it. And then we even have people help put them onto the tower. Once we start getting more vertical, higher up, then it becomes just the two of us putting them on because we don't want to uh, have any
Hazards.
risk of people falling off ladders and all this stuff. And we'll take that risk on ourselves. But
Got it. Awesome. Well, I thank you both very much for your time. I wish you the best of luck, and we will do our best to promote this and make sure the word gets out about it.
thank
Thank you so
you.
much, Therese.